We just heard something hit the back of the trailer. So you make all of these pieces.
I was doing this as a hobby. I made necklaces up to $200 depending on the centerpieces. I had silver pieces that were hand cut and hand engraved. I had elk teeth and buffalo teeth, and I had beautifully carved walrus tusks. I make chokers. I make 4-strand chokers, 2, 3, and 4-strand. I made one girl who had a long neck. I made her a 6-strand one time. I've only made 2 or 3 of those. I was trying to see if there's one. There's one right here. This particular necklace, the beads in the middle are bone. They are the knuckle bone from a coyote.
Oh.
These 2 bones in your hand, that's the bone out of a coyote. I get those, and this one is made from the bone, and this is the knuckle off the end of this bone.
Oh, okay.
And the beads on there, the glass beads, are from Venice, Italy, from the 1850s. They were traded in Africa. They were also traded to the Native Americans over here, but they traded in Africa for 600-700 years before they ever found America. Mm-hmm. So there's many more of the beads over there. Over here, whatever beads have been found, they've been put into museums.
Does the color of the beads mean anything?
Not really. Back in the day, a blue bead was the sign of a king or a chief, because blue glass is made with silver oxide, which is silver, and they were the most expensive bead to make. And normally only a chief or a king could afford to have blue beads. The cheapest bead is a green bead. You've seen Coke bottles. Mm-hmm. Coke bottles is what glass looks like. All glass is Coke bottle green.
Okay.
Any other color, they've had to add other chemicals to, or silver or whatever. Red is hard to make. Blue is the hardest to make. So back in the day, any bead that was blue was very expensive, and very few people could afford. That's why you hear royal blue, mm-hmm. and a lot of people, a lot of royal stuff is purple or blue, because those 2 colors were the hardest to get in even material, to dye clothing. Those were the hardest colors to make. They cost the most money, and the average person, in some countries, it was illegal for ordinary people to wear blue or purple clothes, because it was reserved for the rich. Thistle, into the trail. This is a Native American. This is a kachina. I don't know which kachina it is, but the Navajo and people of that area had a lot of kachinas. This is a buffalo skull with feathers, with the 4 points.
Oh, I like that.
And this is a Kokopelli, the Hopi god of the flute. The Hopi had the kachinas. Okay. The Hopi and the Navajo were very similar people. They lived in the desert. They lived in the mountain places, and buffalo.
Oh, I like that.
And we have an eagle. Necklaces are all pretty much the same except for the color of the bead. I use all glass and metal beads, and I cut all my strings from deer skin, and I hand cut every one of them. Most people who do things with deerskin string, they cut them in circles. It's deerskin. If you pull a deerskin side to side, see how much it stretches? Mm-hmm. If you pull it lengthwise, nothing. Mm. So what I do is I lay a deerskin out on the table.
Is that real?
And see there's a straight edge on both sides lengthwise. And what I do is I measure 30 inches, which is what I need for a string. I cut the top off, and I use that top for making leather bags and little things. And then the strings I cut lengthwise with a pair of shears, so that the string will be good and strong when I need it. So any hide that's full size like this and has a straight edge on it, that is one that's set aside for cutting strings. The light here is horrible.
Oh, for the necklaces.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is how I cut my necklace strings. They have and I've got one. They have a piece that you can take a piece of deer skin that's at least 6 inches square, and you can cut a hole in the center, and a 9-inch circle is what I normally use, and it'll cut a 25-foot string. But the problem is every time you go across the grain, if you tug on that string, it'll snap. Whereas these won't. So they snap pretty easily. And I've snapped many of them while tying the knot in them. Trying to tighten the knot, and they break on me. So I cut all my strings, and I've made as many as 9,000 necklaces in a year.
Did you have to dye that hide to get that color?
I didn't dye it.
Oh, okay.
But any color other than white, I don't care what color the animal is, a zebra, anything. Doesn't matter what color the hair is. When you tan any hide, it's white.
Oh, okay.
All animals. Every hide, when you tan it, it comes out white. So any other color than white in any leather has been dyed.
How long you been doing this?
Well, 45 years.
45
maybe.
What are these
years.
called?
I learned to tool leather in Korea in the military. A little Korean man who worked at the service club taught me to do the tooling, the floral patterns and all that stuff. You take a knife and you carve it, and you take other tools and you shape it, and you make the flowers and the different stuff. He taught me how to do that. Of course, I learned how to use the shears and the hole punches and other things. And when I started doing living history, there was no store to buy the stuff that I needed, like moccasins and a shooting pouch that looked authentic. Mm-hmm. You could buy some sewn on a sewing machine, made out of suede in Mexico or China, but they didn't look authentic. And if I wanted to look authentic, then I had to either pay somebody who had started doing this, or I had to do it myself.
So these are authentic. It isn't like the fake suede or something that you get today
What
when
is
you.
it?
A lot of time when you buy a pair of boots, you get fake.
I buy whole skins. Now this is one that I was using for strings, and it's got a weak spot right here. So now I use it for the bracelets, because the bracelets I only need a short piece.
Oh, okay.
And it don't matter how strong it is. So what's in this basket right now are pieces that are too small. This one got too short to make a necklace with. This one is way too short, but I can get bracelets out of that. So these are scrap pieces that I know. I buy deer skins to make strings with, because necklaces are my #1 priority. Mm-hmm. And then when I get pieces like this, I make this bag here. I do things like this.
Oh, a pouch, a little purse.
It's a deer skin drawstring pouch.
Mm-hmm.
And I make 3 sizes. This is the largest. I make a medicine bag, goes around the neck.
Back in the day, a cowboy might have put his money in that.
Yep, he'd carried his money.
Yeah.
Here's this is a bag of little ones. This is the what I do is when I cut these out. That's 1/2 of a bag of a medicine bag, and then this is my pouch bag. I've got a tools. I've got a hole punch. I've got strings, and then I've got cut out bags. This is a 1/2 of a bag made out of a rabbit. See, there's the leather side.
Yeah.
There's the fur side. And what I do is I sew that to the other 1/2 of a deerskin bag, because rabbit is very fragile. If you sew the other side out of deerskin, it makes the bag much tougher and lasts longer. I think it was Thomas Edison who said, "Success comes to those who hustle while they wait."
Hustle. Leland is going to start a fire with flint and steel, and Jim Chandler is going to teach him how, and he's going to explain everything to you right now.
Yep. Okay. So what you do is, this is a fire starting kit.
Yeah.
And that's your flint.
Yeah.
And that's your steel. I have a friend who's a blacksmith. He makes these. Now what you got to think of this is a knife edge, okay?
Yeah.
And that's what they used for knives before steel was made. But this here, you want to hit it so that it's like cutting.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is you're cutting metal off of here, and it's the friction is so hot it sets the metal on fire. See? That's where the sparks come from.
Like you was doing on your ferro
Yep.
rod.
But okay, so what you do is you take a piece of charred cloth.
Yeah.
You have to make that up because that has to hold the spark long enough for you to get a fire.
Yeah.
And what you want to do with this, you want to make a bird's nest.
Yeah.
You need a place to hold your charred cloth after you make it. Okay? So that's laying here. And what you want to do is you want to hold this in one hand.
Yes.
And you want to hold this in the other hand.
Yes.
Okay. Now, are you right-handed?
Right here?
Are you right-handed?
Yes.
Okay, this should be in your right hand. Just like that.
Yes.
No, put your fingers in there.
Okay. This?
Because that's what you want to hit the knife blade with. Here.
Yes.
This is your knife. Okay? What you want to do is you want to shave, say you're shaving cheese with a knife. You want to shave a piece off of here. There you go.
You go.
Now I'll show you how to start the fire.
Yes.
Okay, what you do is you take your charred cloth
Yes.
and you put it under your thumb.
I could probably do that. Either.
Like that. And then you take and you throw a spark. Oh, that's okay. I got more right here.
Okay. I'm going to pick this up though for you.
Okay.
And then it
Okay,
starts to light.
see the spark there glowing?
Yeah.
So you drop that down in there,
Yeah.
and now that's charcoal.
Yeah.
And so you fold this up around it,
Yeah.
and you put it over your head because where does smoke go? It goes up.
Yeah. You blow? That's cool. Oh, smoke.
There you go.
There it is.
Whoa!